Okay, so there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you in JCE which maybe you don't already know or have changed recently and maybe you hadn't actually noticed them. The first one is the headings styles formatting drop-down. So traditionally, that was just showing a list heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bigger and then smaller. Yeah, just as a visual reminder that heading 1 is more important than heading 2. You'll notice now that it's actually picking up the styles from this template that I'm using, where heading 3 is actually the same size as heading 2, but it's bold and blue. So it's much more representative and truly is WYSIWYG, not just in the content here, but in the drop-down there. Yeah, so that's one of the relatively new things that's in there. One of the other new things, we all know about the pain of cutting and pasting from Microsoft Word. Yeah, and it puts a load of gubbins in. JCE does a brilliant job at getting rid of all of that, but you still get left with some of it sometimes. Or sometimes you just want to get into code mode to actually see things and do some hard coding tweaks. If you switch into code mode, the editor's changed now. It's got syntax highlighting, so you can actually easily see the code bits. In this case, they're blue. It's much easier to see them and to go in and change them. So that's something that's new. Who knew there was a spell checker in JCE? Yeah? Not that many people knew that there was a spell checker. When I go to Europe and I say, who knew there was a spell checker? They say, why do I need a spell checker? It's English, I speak German. There's an option in JCE to actually choose which language you want. So there is a spell checker, it's that button there. Some of the other things that have changed recently is, I'm just going to go out of concentrate mode and go back to the JCE component. Oops. So JCE has editor profiles. Yeah, it used to ship by default with 3 different ones, default, front-end, and Blogger. It now ships with a new one called Mobile. And JCE will actually now display a different WYSIWYG editor toolbar if you're on a mobile compared to a desktop. So I'm just going to make the mobile one actually the default for my site so you can actually get a quick impression of what the difference is. Okay, not that. Ah, I know what. I need to turn it on for desktops. So you can see there's an option whether this editor is going to be displayed on desktop, tablet, or phone. And you can do that with all the different profiles. So the big difference you can see there is that the buttons are bigger. Why they're bigger? Because you're using it with your finger, which is a lot fatter than a mouse. Yeah? This gives me a good opportunity to show you, there's the concentrate button again. It also gives me the opportunity to show you this one at the end, commonly known as the kitchen sink. If you put this icon at the end of your row, it hides the other stuff, lets you toggle them on and off. So when you're customizing your editor profile, your editor layout, you can still keep some stuff which you use occasionally, like tables, but hide them from day-to-day use just behind the toggle. Let me just switch back to the default. So something else that's relatively new is you spend ages on your site and you're configuring all the options in JCE, and there's a lot. And you configure the toolbar to appear how you want, and it's great. And maybe it takes you an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It depends on how much you want to tweak it. And then, of course, you go into your next site, and you've got to do the same thing again. Well, actually, you don't. Yeah? All you do, select the profile, click Export. That's now exported an XML file. And then go to your next site and import it. So I've already got my favorite one. Downloads. There we are. Import. Okay, there's the Brian profile I've just imported. I'm going to make that one the default. And there's my favorite layout. With all my configuration changes, it's got my toggle bar. It's got everything that I want, all there, built in. So I can customize it as much as I want, make it exactly right, not just for me, but maybe for my clients as well, and then just copy export and import it onto the new sites. You don't need to repeat all the work. That's quite a nice feature. What I thought I'd do, though, is show you some of the plugins, some of the add-ons to JCE, which if you have the membership subscription are included. Let me go here. So you can see I've got 3 plugins here that I've already installed. One's File Manager, one's Image Manager Extended, and one's Media Manager. I'm going to quickly show you Media Manager first, but before I do that, let me just edit the profile. Scroll. So if you've never seen editing the layout, you just grab the button that you don't want and take it and drop it there. And you add the ones that you do want and put it up there. That'll do for now. Okay, so when you're inserting a video, there's lots of different ways you can insert a video, a YouTube video or something like into a Joomla article. The most popular one, it used to be is something called All Videos. And All Videos is, to put the video in here, you would type something like squiggle, YouTube, then the geeky code, and then squiggle / YouTube. And it's incredibly easy and really simple, and I thought it was great. My customers didn't have a clue. Why? Because I said to them, you need the geeky code in the middle, the unique bit for YouTube. So what's that unique bit? So let's go to YouTube and grab a video. Okay, let's grab this one. So the unique bit of the video, pause, is that bit there. And I thought that was really obvious, and my clients would easily do that. But when you've got a related video as well, they get another unique bit on the end, and they were really confused. So with JCE, it actually has a much better way of doing it. And of course, you realize here that there's no indication about how much space it's going to take in your article. Yeah, it's just the text. You won't see what it's doing until it's there. So let's just delete that. I want the video to be here. Let's click on the, okay. And you'll see it supports lots of different video formats. But all I want to do is YouTube. Now, I don't actually have to tick the YouTube box because it's clever. I go to the YouTube website. I click the URL. I edit, copy. I go back to there. I edit, paste. And as soon as I click off there, maybe, you see it's already selected YouTube and the default size. Now, it's pre-filled it as 425 by 350. You can either go in there and edit that to be bigger, or you can actually go into the JCE profile and change the JCE profile to use a standard size that's bigger than that. But I'm just going to put that in. And now you can immediately see it's drawn a box in my article, so I know how much space it's going to take. And if I press save, and go back to my article, and you can see the videos directly in. So that's a great change. Where JCE is really cool is the extended image manager. Okay, so who has problems with their clients going out and taking digital photos and uploading enormous photos? Yeah? How many times do you tell them to resize it and they just grab the corners and make it smaller? Or they type in the box, the dimensions box, and make it smaller and it doesn't work? Okay? So what we really want is a foolproof method, you know, a client-proof method. Well, JCE's thought of that. So I'm just going to put an image in here. In fact, let me go onto the full screen. Okay, so I want to put an image in. I click on the Image Manager Extended. That looks very similar to the one you're used to seeing. Okay, usual story, images at the bottom, then this at the top. Okay, hold on, that's stupid. Why do you start at the bottom and then go to the top and then go back to the bottom to press install? Yeah, I think that's stupid. If you want, you can go into the JCE profile. You'll find the Brian switch, which actually switches these two round, so you start at the top by selecting the image, and then the options, and then inserts. But I'm going to stick with this. So this looks fairly similar. It's a little bit different though. You now have a thumbnail view, and you can also hide the folders and yeah, all of that. So let me upload some images. So I'm going to, and of course it's got drag and drop. So let's take some random images from here. Let's take those, drag and drop them in. These images are quite big. They're about 800 by 600 at least. But I'm going to resize them all to 640 by 480. And you notice I've ticked the box and it's got some dimensions in. Obviously, you can put your own dimensions in. You can save it in the profile to be a fixed dimension. You can also save it in the profile for that box to be automatically ticked. So clients don't look at options, do they? They just go, click, upload, do it. So it's going to resize the photos for them. So it doesn't matter what size they've got on their computer. When it goes on the website, they're the correct size. You've got something else called thumbnail, which again you can turn on or off and predefine some images. I'm going to select thumbnail and we'll see what it does in a minute. So I'm going to upload all 5 of those images. And we can see they're there. It's now got the nice thumbnails. You'll notice there's a new folder there called thumbnails, automatically created. Guess what? In there are 5 thumbnails. So if I want to very quickly put an image in, I select it, it copies it up there, and I click insert, job done. Yeah, that's fairly simple. It's not really too different to what it was before, except that you can see the thumbnails, and it's resized it for you. But you, it's producing it. So is it the most optimized file size thing? Who knows? Probably not. But it's a pretty good job.
Yeah. So what about if you have horizontal and vertical or portrait landscape pictures?
It does it, although it says 640 by 480, which is a portrait thing, if it's a landscape photo, it actually does 480 by 640.
It does it automatically if you have the tool at the side.
Yeah. But you can do it, of course, manually. Now, something else you can do is if I select the image, and this is a nice image of me on the beach, I wish, and I select the image editor. So there's my image editor, and this is the big image. I can resize it again here. There's some presets. I can crop the image. Oops. Struggling to pick it up here. And I can apply. And I've cropped the image. I can rotate the image. One second. All good things in time. It's all right. Now let me just uncrop it again. And we can also have some simple effects. We can lighten it, fade it, boost. Yeah, we can make it sepia. So we can do all sorts of things like that. And when I click save, it prompts me, do I want to save it as the same file, or do I want to give it a new name? So, and there you can see the quality threshold thing to set the JPEG compression in this case. So we can do all of that. But one thing I always like to do, usually on a website, is I quite often want to have my image, and I want it 250 or 120 or something like that size, but I really want the user to be able to see it large. So you want them to be pop-ups. And there's lots of Joomla plugins that allow you to do pop-ups and hover-overs and all the rest of it. But why install a plugin if you're already using JCE, and JCE can already do it? So what I'm going to do is, let's just cancel that. Let's just get the video off there. I'm going to put my image in here, so, oops. Click on the right button. I'm going to select pop-ups. It supports multiple types, JCE pop-ups, Windows pop-ups, Rocket Themes, Pop-Up Box, and UThemes Pocket Box as well, but I haven't installed those. And select the image that I want, and it says, do I want to use the associated thumbnail? Yes. Okay, there's my pop-up all set, and click Insert. There's my small image. There we go. Let me save. There's my image, and when I click, there's the bigger image.
So it doesn't automatically, when you're changing effects, when you click on the image, it doesn't create a new thumbnail?
No, that's correct. Yeah. It's a little bit hard to see. There's a little picture of a magnifying glass there, so the users see. That's something, again, you can choose whether you want to use that magnifying glass or your own specific type of icon. But something else that we often do is we end up with an image at the top. We might have another image down here and another image down the bottom. They're all pop-ups, but the user has to click on one, open it, then close it and go down. What's really nice, of course, is to group them, so you click on one and then you can navigate through. So let's do that. Okay, so let me just delete that one. So let's insert the first image, pop-ups, JCE, yes, and I give it a group. I'll say Brian, and do the next image. And I am doing this very quickly without any alignments or anything, but sure, whoops. Again, put it in the same group. And I can repeat that all the way through my article. And when I press save and refresh, so there's my two images. And when I click on the first one, you see it's now grouped, and I can go to the next one. So they're all displaying as a slideshow, even though in the actual article, the images are separate. So that's quite nice. But we can take it a stage further. My typical example of this is usually a car website. You know, car websites, they've got like 10 photos of the car, you know, all from different angles. So you need 10 little thumbnails and details and stuff. People don't want that. They just want one thumbnail, click on it, and it opens up and you can see all 10. So we can do that as well. Let's just get rid of these. So how do we do that? Well, we click on the image manager again, we go to pop-ups, JCE, and then we select all the images that we want, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We click on the there. It's actually hard to see, but it says multiple image selection up there. Again, we still have to make sure it's a group. And if we click insert now, it's going to show them all on the screen. All of them as being pop-ups. We don't want to show them all. So we're going to hide the pop-up link. And then we're just going to select which one we want to be the pop-up. Say no, update. Hopefully I've done that the right way around. There's one image. They're all there. So you just got one small image being displayed in your article. They click on it, they pop up and see them all. Yeah, nice little feature, saves you a lot of time, makes your article easy to use. One of the other, let me just, have I installed it? Okay. Every so often you want to put attachments, PDFs, HTML files, PDFs, Word files, zip files, etc. in your article. And again, there's lots of editors, lots of add-ons for Joomla that allow you to do that. But why have another add-on when you could just do it built in? So again, there's one called File Manager. It looks like I've got it installed, but it's on my profile. Just put it on Brian. Features and layouts. Where is it? There it is, File Manager. Okay, second close. So this time I want to make that word, then I want to insert a file there. So I click on the file icon, and this looks very similar to the image manager. This time it's a file manager. So a piece of advice, I usually create another folder called docs or files or something like that, just to internally keep the navigation separate from the images. Save a bit of time, I'm just going to find something to upload. Okay, I'm just going to browse. I don't like drag and drop. By the way, if you don't like the file name, you can click there and rename it before it uploads. So there's the file uploaded. Here it is. I can make sure it goes up there. Fills all the bits, text, change the title if you want. This is what's really clever, or really nice. There's nothing worse, especially if you're on a slow dial-up connection or if you're on a mobile phone or something like that, to see something that looks like a link and find out that it's downloading a 10 megabyte PDF file or something like that. You'd rather wait till you got home. So it's really bad experience for your users if they keep clicking on things and it's trying to download stuff. So it's helpful if you tell them beforehand. So here we have a little toolbar for the layout, and we can choose to display an icon, the text, the size of the image, and the date of the image if you want as well. So I'm going to just turn them all on. But I don't really want it to say 258.82 kilobytes. That's a little bit too much information. Let's just change that to, say, 260 KB. Okay? So we can do that, and I can press Insert, and we can see there it is. Nice PDF icon. Notice I didn't say what icon to use. It recognized the PDF extension and showed a PDF. If it's a Word file, it'll show a W, an Excel file will show the X, PPT, etc. But I actually don't like the order that's in. Yeah, I don't want all of that, so I'm going to do it again. Let me get back. File Manager. Select that file. And turn on the icon and the size and the date again. But this time, for various reasons, I want the date to be at the front. And you just pick it up and move it. Put the icon at the end. Insert, and you can see now it's done it the right way. Yeah, really simple, but all done within the one extension. So that's 3 extensions that I've replaced. Lots of ones that will let you do file attachments, all videos that let you do video plugins, and loads of other pop-up images extensions that are around. I'm not saying that the other ones are bad. I'm not saying that JCE's ones are better. I'm saying you're just having one extension. Yeah? Your clients know how to use the toolbar, the WYSIWYG toolbar. You're only teaching them one thing. And of course, from your point of view, you're only having to update one thing. Yeah? So it reduces your training time, reduces your support time. So it makes life a lot easier. And there's lots of things like that that you can do with JCE. And it's really quite useful. And I'm just going to show you one last thing, which is in the JCE editor. If you go to the profiles and choose your profile, here we can see the actual settings. You can see, as I said before, you can choose whether this layout is for desktop, mobile, or tablet, or all of them. You can choose which components you want to display this WYSIWYG editor for, which user groups, or even which individual user. So they can all have different settings. You can control the layout. I changed the default height. It's quite small by default in Joomla. I made it much bigger. Yeah, 500 pixels. You can change the width as well. That's where you choose the theme, mobile, or the Microsoft Office styles. You put your toolbars in different places, left alignment, and stuff like that. Here, as we saw, we just drag and drop, move them. You can change the order of the rows as well. You can do pretty much whatever you want in terms of the look and feel there. But you can do some other clever stuff. So I've been talking about you can change the default settings. And you can see we've got typography. So in that drop-down list of heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, address code, pre-formatted, all that sort of stuff, if you don't want to show them all, if you don't want your client to put a heading 1 inside your article because your article title is already a heading 1, now let's stop them from ever being able to do that by unticking it. It's never going to appear in the list. Yeah, it's keeping it nice and simple. If you don't want them to use any of these, you can just untick. And of course, if you want to really force them to look at things in certain ways, you can change the order of them as well by dragging and dropping. Yeah, so you can completely customize it. Remember, anything you customize here and save it in the profile, you can then export that profile and import it in. So we've got all of that. If you were using the font drop-down, which I don't recommend anybody doing, but if you were, you can go in and add additional fonts in there. And again, remove fonts and font styles and colors. You can do all of that. What else can we show you? And all the, I was talking about the images, Image Manager Extended. So one thing that's quite nice is, again, we can simplify things completely. We can remove all those options for the clients. We can decide that they can't create new folders. Yeah? So we can decide that they can't delete folders or images or rename files and stuff like that. We can set the default view mode from list to thumbnails, all that sort of stuff. And this is where you do it. Set the default resize width and height, and whether it's on permanently or not. And to save me doing the stuff before, you can set that JCE option there. And there's one final thing I wanted to show you. Yeah. So the final thing, which is particularly good if you're in a multiple user or multiple department situation, is you can set the directory path for the images. Yes, that's the physical place that the images are going to be stored. Same options in the file manager. If I just hover over here, we can see all those options. Is that big enough for you to read? If you put $ID in there, it will automatically, with the first time that the user goes to upload an image, it will put their user ID in. Yeah? And then from then onwards, their images will always be in there. Or $username, $user type, $profile, $group. Or if you're a site that's uploading loads and loads of images, you can group them by year, month, or date. So it completely organizes your images as well. Now, something that JCE is quite nice about is some of those options, and especially some of the ones for the other things, you actually want to take a screenshot of that for your documentation, or you want to be able to copy and paste. That's typically quite hard to do with a pop-up box, but if I just click when I've got a pop-up, you notice a little cross appears, the pop-up box is there. I can now cut, copy and paste, and when I've finished, close the box. Yeah? Nice little feature, particularly useful. So again, you can also change the upload size and things like that. So you can really do whatever you want with JCE. You can absolutely customize the entire, not just which buttons you've got, but what the buttons do, the default options for those buttons, absolutely everything. I made a decision for my personal blog about 6 to 9 months ago that I was going to completely, wherever possible, stop using extensions and just use Joomla Core where possible. And by using JCE, I was able to get rid of about 10 different plugins and add-ons that I was using before and just using one. So it made it much simpler. And the final thing to show you is, if you're using JCE, you get a bonus as well, which is inserts on the icon here, the JCE file browser. In other words, a replacement for Media Manager. Yeah? It just works so much faster than Media Manager, and that's thrown in there as well, which is quite nice. But the other thing that's useful is JCE fully supports Joomla's automatic update notification and checker. So if JCE ever brings out a new version, it will show you there that there's a new version of JCE, and then you just click on it and it will give you the option to update. So there's no excuse for anyone ever to have an out-of-date version of JCE. And you can see, there we are, there's an update available. If I click on that, and this bit won't work. Oh, this bit might not work because the uni was blocking some stuff before. Yeah, I'm not going to try because if we tried it on the training and it wouldn't go through the firewall. You should always do a site backup before you do anything on your website like that. So yes, just as a general rule of good practice. So yeah, I would do that. So there you are, really, really simple, using JCE. In fact, it's so simple that one of our colleagues on the front row over there has managed to sleep for the last 40 minutes. Still. No, not anymore. Wait. Good morning. So I'm not offended, honestly. Some of us are old enough to know when our bedtime is. So anyway, I just wanted to spend that time just to show you, even though you know how to use JCE, the fact that you don't know how to use JCE, and there's a lot more stuff out there. Hopefully, at some point in the next few months, I'm going to be doing a whole series of video courses about all the hidden features of JCE. I just need to get the opportunity to sit down and find them, to find the time to do it. I know where they all are, but it's finding the time to make the videos. But hopefully there's enough for you to go along with. And especially, highly recommend getting the image manager extended, for the automatic image resizing and for the pop-ups and for the group slides. All right, thank you very much. So who didn't have JCE JCE subscription, so that didn't have image manager extended, is going to go ahead and get it now? There you are. And I'll tell Ryan that so I can get commission. Thanks very much.